Welcome back to Take Two, a discussion of politics, current events, and the times. I'm joined as always by Adam Matlack and Mike Pomerantz, and today I'd like your thoughts on the current state of herd mentality.
So I'll take the lead on this one. I think it's interesting that where we are in society. I think my, if we talk just quickly about herd mentality, my take on it is it's mob mentality. It's the idea that people operate in a group and look at what someone else is doing and kind of measure and decide to do that or to not. And most people are likely to follow the herd. Now, it's important that we distinguish what the herd is and whose herd is whose. And in today's politics and in today's world, it seems that there are two herds. There's two different trains of thought, right? I listen to MSNBC and Fox is wrong. I listen to Fox and MSNBC are liars. I think Trump is good and he sent me $1,200 and that's the cost of socialism. And I think Trump is a loser and he's the worst thing ever. And that's part of my tribe and that's that person's tribe. And so it is a divide. And so I think for me, you have to separate those two to try to determine the herd mentality that's going on. Everybody's inside of their own pocket or inside of their own echo chamber, if you will. Um, and I think people are talking about, oh, I mean, you're either, and this kind of goes deeper, but you're either, when somebody talks about this, you're either what they agree with or you're an idiot. So when I explain something, and I'm guilty of this for sure. I'm guilty. Anybody who knows me knows me. I'm guilty. He's like, oh well, the problem with them is they're an idiot, right? And so they didn't do it this way, right? And there's most people like that. Oh, if they're not wearing a mask, they're an idiot. The other side, and of course they believe that you should be wearing a mask. And then the other side is that well, oh, they're just an idiot. They're listening to what the government says to do. They're just little puppets, little strings, right? And so they're as we go deeper down into this, you're going to see that it looks like a simple topic. It looks like something. This is just people following people, but there's so minute details here. Then it's the little stuff that counts here. People talk about BMWs. I remember a long time ago, back in corporate world, everybody drove seemingly the same BMW. It was like the same like 725i. Like you could literally go to thing, look around, and like there's 25 in a row of 30. They're all the same BMW. Half of them are white. This is weird. Why is everybody doing this? And I gotta tell you, you don't see that quite anymore, but you do see it in the. I mean, there's more differentiation, like upholding that, and kind of adhering to that, and more like I want to stand out. But there's also the I want the path of least resistance. That's absolutely still a thing. And a lot of people in herd mentality are following that. It's like, well, I don't really agree with this, or I don't really even know about this, but my neighbor said this, so I'm doing this. And I think that's kind of where we are.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I talked to Rich about this a little bit actually before we started. And one of the best things, and I'm not telling everybody else what to think or what to do, but one of the best things for me is to sit with you and chew over this stuff. And I enjoy it, but I also learn a lot from getting my toe, my foot, maybe down into the calf, into the pool of someone else's knowledge and experience and opinion. But the herd mentality, what you just were talking about, gave me an idea for a great example of sports. Philadelphia sports fan, many years, and an example of the herd mentality from back in the day was the whole world had this idea of how to talk about the Philadelphia sports fan. Oh, they threw snowballs at Santa Claus. And it is, I mean, you said it, you put your finger right on it. And what we would always, the Philadelphia reaction was always, wow, that journalist is lazy, or that sports commentator is lazy. That's a lazy point of view. You're just borrowing from somebody else. Now, there is, you win efficiency. It takes less time. And to a certain extent, particularly when you're in the deadly pandemic, it's not a bad idea to outsource some of the knowledge to the experts. I wish our president did that a little bit more. Separate conversation. But what we don't get, what happens too often, is no skepticism. No skepticism. You buy your tribe 100%, hook, line, and sinker, and that is dangerous. So we could say, oh, the herd mentality is not what it used to be, because it's not like everybody goes one way or everybody goes another way. Now there's like almost equal divergence. But within both of those groups, there's cows, there's lambs, there's sheep, there's lemmings, and they're just looking around from, looking up from their phones. They say everybody's going that way. Oh, I'm going to go that way. And it is so dangerous for a society in the best of times, because it stagnates growth, it stagnates creativity. There's an incredible television program that nobody in their right mind has seen, but people in their wrong mind have seen. It's called The Prisoner, from the 60s. It's about the Cold War. But the idea is that it doesn't make any sense, except that it is 17 episodes. It's just a celebration of individuality. And when I saw that as a young person, all I could think was, wow, there's us and them. But really, if I can get the one inside of me, then I can maybe get above that stuff. And that's been a guiding principle for me for decades, and has served me well, I think, because without that skepticism that says, what's important to me, not which way should I go, not what will everybody think, but what's really important inside of me. Without that skepticism, you're just like, I don't know if I said this on another chat, but you're just like a dog being led around on a leash. So the herd mentality is weird now, because there's like these two herds. So it's almost like we don't think about it, but man, is it happening. And there's so many examples, but it's dangerous.
Well, if we're going to talk about movies, we've got to bring up The Matrix here, right? So the idea.
Well, that's right.
If you don't know The Matrix, you need to watch this. One of the greatest movies of all time. And at some point, he's offered the red pill or the blue pill, and it's this unbelievable message and picture. And that's where we are. There's 100% is because you've got 50%, maybe even more, maybe 55. Screaming, take the blue pill, and then 45% take the red pill, and then this is what they're going to take, and they're going to do it. They're going to do it emphatically. They're going to do it regardless of what the consequences be damned. I mean, there are more shills, and what I mean by shills, just like this, it doesn't matter what they do. I mean, it doesn't matter that Biden might have done this. They're like, nope, going to vote for him anyhow, and here's why. And it's like, it's unreal where we're at. This idea, and I think you hit it perfectly right on it. It's, well, I'm not going to think for myself at all. I'm not going to challenge this at all. I grew up in a way to where it wasn't that I didn't respect authority. It was that I didn't necessarily trust it, and I always questioned it. I sat there and said, okay, this is what the authority is saying. If it be my parent, if it doesn't make sense, if somebody says, should you jump off a bridge? Would you do it? And that old saying of asking, telling your 4-year-old that, they're like, And I mean, I swear you could see a 35-year-old nowadays being like, I mean, is Trump at the bottom of it? Is what somebody said, somebody yells at the bottom and is like, oh my gosh, maybe I should. Did Trump tell me to drink the bleach? Maybe I should. I mean, you go down this line and you're absolutely dumbfounded by when you figure out, you get into a crowd. I mean, you go to a sporting event, we're going to lose sporting events. You figure out just how dumb the crowd really is. I mean, I live in Texas. You go to a football game, nobody knows anything about any of it. I mean, they're talking, they're screaming, they got all the gear on, they're yelling about how it needs to put this player in, run the football, pass it to this guy. What? That's a terrible idea. And there's a reason why they're a fan and not coaching the team. But dang, are they absolutely convinced? And they're like, emphatic. I think that's where we are now. I think we're all just in this giant dome, and there's two teams, and you're either rooting for the other team or you're rooting for yours. And if you're not for me, then screw you, man. Let's have a fight in the parking lot. Let's do it. Let's throw it down. And it's sad because that's where we are. But in many ways, what are you gonna do? So
bringing the Matrix into this is a great call, and the reason is that, like like a lot of the stuff we talk about, there's a missed message. In the Matrix, the red pill is objective reality.
Yep.
The blue pill is fantasy, an unreal space. And there's no opinion in the movie about what's real and what's not real. In the movie, we have fixed points for truth. And although it's more on the rhetoric of the right, maybe because of the use of the colors red and blue, I don't know. But the idea is that all the people who don't agree with me are living in fantasy land.
Ignorance is bliss, the movie.
And that's not the message of the movie.
Yeah.
The message of the movie is not some people live in fantasy land and some people know the truth and the truth's hard and we got to fight. The message of the movie is, don't you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
And what happens is when somebody says my opinion is truth and your opinion is fantasy, you're not having a conversation anymore. You're just yelling at each other or you're just ignoring each other. So I like the movie. I like the idea of wake up from reality. And the method of that, waking up from reality, is not to adopt the Mitch McConnell talking points for the week. The method for waking up to reality is to be skeptical about everyone with power, including parents. And as a parent, I'm getting effing killed with that right now, but it's okay. It's okay. But anyone who has money, anyone who has power, anyone who has authority, we would all, from the youngest to the oldest, be served so well to just ask, is there a self-serving reason that this person wants me to do X, Y, or Z? In other words, that's the reality. The reality is not a package of information from the right or a package of information from the left. The reality is, does this person have something going on that they're not telling me? And are they trying to use me? And that goes on both sides. So the Matrix, great example.
Thank you both for your thoughts. That's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed our discussion, be sure to like and subscribe below and join us for the next installment of Take Two.